Well, good evening, folks, and welcome along to your Friday night phone in here on the Rangers Rabble podcast. Plenty to sink our teeth into, obviously. New manager, a comeback on Wednesday night, which certainly I don't think many seen coming at 2-0 down, and of course, a big game tomorrow for Barry Ferguson, his first game in the dugout at Ibrox. So all of that and more to discuss because there was a press conference today as well. So get your calls in. Anything that you want to put to the guys, make sure you do it. The number is, of course, at the bottom of your screen, going across the ticker, but I'll read it out anyway. It is 01416287237. So make sure you pick up the phone and dial those digits if you want to speak to myself, Wilf, and Stuart. And as I said, joining me, I do have, of course, an experienced panel. I think we could say the veteran panel tonight. We've got Wilf. How are we?
Yeah, I'm okay, Connor. Thanks. Yeah, not too bad. Looking forward to seeing what the viewers want to talk about tonight, and hopefully we get a few calls in because the calls are always good quality. So, yeah, looking forward to a bit of that tonight.
And of course, Stuart. How are we?
Very well, Connor. I think maybe you're meaning the veteran as in ages for me, Wilf. Definitely. But yeah, all good. I'm glad it's Friday. Yeah, and looking forward to the show again tonight and see what the guys have got to discuss on the phone line and indeed the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, as I said, it is a phone in, so make sure you pick up the phone. Martin is sitting in the background awaiting your call. But whilst you get dialing, let's kick off, Wilf. First of all, because I haven't been on since Philippe Clement was sacked. Actually, that was the last show I was on, and since Barry Ferguson came in. First of all, what have you made of the start that Barry's had and the reaction that there's been to his appointment?
By reaction, if you mean reaction from the supporters, I think it's been generally well accepted, and it seems to have been. It was one of those, though. It wasn't really important who got the interim manager's job, as long as it was somebody that could put a bit of passion back into the team, maybe get the standards back. It was always going to have to be an ex-Rangers man. There's obviously been a few people, questioning Barry's past history as a manager because he's not really done much, in the dugout at any great level. But he has brought in a team around about him who have got top flight experience. Obviously, Neil McCann was manager at Dundee. Billy Dodds had been manager at Inverness. I found that quite a strange one that he brought him in with him. But obviously, he seems to do quite well in the coaching stakes. So, I mean, obviously Barry knows him better than I do. So, and obviously Alan McGregor, right out of left field, obviously to be the goalkeeping coach. I don't think Griggsy would have come back into football for anybody else or for any other club. So, I think on the whole, it's been quite well received. And he obviously got a win in his first game. But sure, I don't really think we saw that one coming after half an hour on Wednesday night.
No, after half an hour, I think it was a case of same as normal type thing. I think even by half an hour, I think we easily could have been three or four down. I think the two balls cut across from the right hand side across the box. One, but the guy miskicked it, and then another one, I think the keeper saved it. But yeah, we easily could have been four down before we replied to that. But to answer Connor's question as well, moving on for yourself there, well, was it like yourself? It wasn't a surprise that it was a Rangers man that came in. Again, to be honest, I wasn't too fussed who came in because you said it was only interim. It was always going to be just till the end of the season. So whether that was Fergie or whoever, it was the case. It was too stable. What we've got, don't make matters worse, and just see what points we can win to take it down from 13 to maybe 8 or something to lose the league with, if that's a nice way to say it. But I had to laugh at some of the comments coming through because everybody's screaming for Rangers men. So the board gave them 4, and some of the fans were like, "No, they 4." Well, who did you want? You know what I mean? That's what I amusing. No, as you say, they were all saying, no, Fergie's not done this, and he was at Alloa and Clyde and etc. Then, no, McCann got the sack from Dundee, but look what he took over from Dundee. I think they were already near or thereabouts getting relegated. And as you said, Billy Dodge took Inverness Scottish Cup final.
Sorry to interrupt you there, Stuart, but we do have our first call of the evening. Chris is waiting. Chris, how are we?
Yeah, not bad. Yourselves?
Aye, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. What's your point for the guys tonight?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think Barry Ferguson would have learned a hell of a lot about this dressing room after they went 2-0 down. He would have learned who he can trust, who are the players that are going to step up when the pressure's on. Now, that could have been 3-0, and that wouldn't have flattered Kilmarnock. That could have been a lot worse than it was. I think if I'd have steamrolled them, you don't really learn a lot, but going 2-0 down and fighting back, I think Barry Ferguson will have a better idea of the type of personalities and just exactly what he's got in that dressing room and understand who he can trust and who he can't trust. And see this Proper beside NCR. Proper is going to bury NCR. Proper is decent in Eredivisie, but he's not up to the Scottish Premier League, the physicality. He's just not up to it. And I just think you've got to set this young lad NCR up for failure. You've got to pair him with Proper all the time. And see, Charlie, for me, he's too greedy on the ball at times. You're saying to yourself, release it, and he just runs himself into trouble, or he doesn't release it and loses the ball. It's quite frustrating, but it was a good result for Barry, and hope bigger tests to come. But hopefully we can push on, build up some enthusiasm for next season.
Yeah, I mean, Wilf, Chris raises some good points there. I mean, look, I think we all know that the backline in particular is a real source for concern. I mean, quite frankly, you could put Pep Guardiola in our dugout right now. That backline is what it is. That's the players that we've got available. Hopefully, we get John Souttar back sooner rather than later. That certainly should help. But it's no secret that, particularly on Wednesday night, it was some poor defending at times.
It was poor defending at times, and I like Chris. I feel a bit sorry for Inciala because he has been thrown to the wolves somewhat. It's somebody said to me on Wednesday coming out of the ground that it was a bit like Leon King when he get thrown in Europe, but the difference is Leon King was thrown in with a central midfield player beside him. He had James Sands beside him, whereas Inciala's got a supposedly experienced centre back beside him. And I believe it was noticeable on the television on Wednesday. Obviously, I was lucky enough to be at the game, so didn't see the full game on the TV. It was noticeable that there was absolutely no communication between the two centre backs while the starting centre backs were on the park. But once Tav moved inside, he was talking all the time to everybody. So it would seem that Proper doesn't really talk too much to his centre half partner. So Inciala needs guided through games. I mean, he's only a young lad. The games he's played for us are all the games he's played in professional football. He's obviously going to make mistakes. Young kids do make mistakes. He does need guided through it. But fair play to the manager, because a lot of managers will just ride this out till half time. We'll make a change at half time. You know what I mean? Because to take a young lad off, and as somebody said in the comments, if you're making a change in that sort of situation, 2-0 down a place like Kilmarnock, you're going to leave the most experienced of the two players on the park. You're going to take the younger one off. But you have to put your arm around them and say, look, it's not your fault. These things happen, which I believe has happened. They were all saying in the press conference today and around the club and that they've all had a chat when Barry sat them down and yesterday and said, look, this is why what happened. Robin Proper said in the press conference today that everybody's had the word with him. He seems happy enough in training and things like that. I mean, on a side note from what Chris said, Robin Proper on the press getting wheeled out for the press today was a bit strange for me, particularly after what happened on Wednesday. But that's another issue we might touch on later. But I mean, the manager definitely showed his mettle, because, as I say, he made a change a lot of people probably wouldn't have expected. And Chris is right; it could have been 3. He's actually doing Kilmarnock an injustice. It could have been 4 or 5. In the first half an hour. I don't think that would have flattened Kilmarnock, and we weren't coming back from that.
No, I mean, Chris, I'll throw back to yourself, mate. We heard the manager today, Andy spoke after the game as well about the Ciala situation and bringing him off and making that change. Young lad, obviously, but Barry has said that he has spoke to him. They've got an arm around him, and explained, as you said there, that it could have been anybody. So, I mean, do you still feel like there is a future for Clinton Ciala here, and that he's maybe just a bit raw to be getting flung in, constantly right now?
I think he's got a bright future in the game. I think that lad will go to the Premier League, Serie A, and have a very good career. But I think at the moment, to get him development and develop him fully so we can push him on out the door for a big fee, he needs somebody beside him, like a shooter, a baller. Ideally, in an ideal world, if I could have the ideal solution, would be Davy Weir. But unfortunately, I can't have that because he needs somebody there that's going to talk him through the game, that's going to organise him, make sure his position's okay, make sure he's picking up the mark, and just talk to him and get him through the game. And I just don't think Robin Popper does that. And if the young lad needs that, these young lads, you just can't throw these young lads in without any leadership or anybody there to talk them through the game. Now, I'll use an example. John Flanagan's debut for Liverpool was against Manchester City. Different series. He had Jamie Carragher beside him, talking him through the game and giving him proper advice. And that's what these young lads need. And also, can I say, I know there's a lot of football to be played, but see if Barry Ferguson continues to do okay to the end of the season and the new man comes in, are we setting the new man up for failure? If the new man comes in and say the place is up due to Ferguson and that, the new man comes in, gets off to a slow start, could you see a position where the fans start calling for Ferguson in that scenario?
Stuart, I'll throw that very point to your good self. It would be harsh if they did, but could you see it happening?
No, but let me answer the first question, the first part, first core of you, don't mind. I'm going to say young Nasella. So what is he, 21, 2021? That's not a young kid in football anymore. 16, 17, playing for the first team is a young kid. So Wednesday night, it was a choice. Who did you take off? What setting of lad do you take off? And I think the manager and his team selected the right choice. You take a young boy off just solely advantage not to completely destroy his confidence moving for tomorrow, for example, and keep sort of like your experience captain of FC20 there. But to answer Chris's point about not a lot, many games to play, what happens at the end of the season, the new man comes in. If he gets off to a slow start, do the fans then start shouting for Barry Ferguson? It wouldn't surprise me the way our fans are at the moment. However, we have to wait and see, when the takeover gets completed and who the new team decide who they want it to be. It's quite early said. I think the Americans love a big name. I don't know what big name that's going to be. Whether they're going to bring somebody over that they know that we don't from the US of A, or are they going to go and approach a big name, a well-known name that individuals in America can sit up and take notice and say, "He's the manager of Rangers," type thing. So we need to wait and see. I think that's a question that we really can't answer at the moment. Depending on what Chris means of a slow start, if he plays 3 and loses 3, then we are in trouble again, and we're back to square one. But hopefully that won't happen. We just have to wait and see who comes in to replace Barry. I think Barry understands he's there to the end of the season. If he does well, I think an opportunity that he stays within the club in some kind of role. Don't know. Again, that's all what we do with the new board taking over.
Stuart, I'm not even sure that. Sorry, Connor. I'm not even sure that Barry would want that. I mean, I would assume that the three of the 4 that were involved in the media have probably said, "Look, can we knock this on the head till the end of the season? We'll reassess it in the summer." They won't have they'll put their media careers on hold rather than just bind them all together. I don't know if Barry would want to come in and work on something. He might be using this as a stepping stone to get back into football. He might look at it and go, "I've done." If he does okay, he might then sort of put his name in the hat for other management jobs elsewhere. Like you say, Stuart, we really don't know. The important thing is that he gets off to a winning home start tomorrow, and then we'll just see where that takes us after that.
Agreed.
Yeah, absolutely. Chris, just finally, before you go, your predictions for tomorrow. Will it be a triumphant return to Ibrox for Barry Ferguson and co?
I'm going to say 3-0 and Dio and Dessers to get 2.
Yeah, I'll have that all day long. Absolutely not a problem. I'll take that. Chris, pleasure having you on, mate. Thanks very much for the call. Make sure to call us back anytime. Some great points there. And there you go, folks. That's how easy it is. Get that phone picked up and get those numbers at the bottom of your screen dialed, and you can come through and have a chat with myself and the guys as well. I mean,
Connor, sorry, Chris mentions Dessers here. Can we chat about Dessers for a minute or two till we get the next call in, right? Because I had one of my mates phoned me just about an hour ago, right? And the first Rangers thing he said to me was how much of an enigma is Cyril Dessers, because he misses absolute sitters, and then the second goal he scored on Wednesday night was an absolute perler. I mean, the ball. The ball initially in from Ridvan. I mean, Ridvan takes a lot of bad rap for some of his performances and things like that. And he's not. The last time he played at right back, he wasn't great. He came on at right back, which was a tough call from the manager. Brave call from the manager, bringing him at right back. But the ball to Dessers, and for Dessers, if you watch it back, which I'm sure we all have, you can see him looking at it. First thing he does is glance at the linesman to make sure he's onside, which unusually he is, because he gets caught offside an awful lot. And he just watches the ball come over his shoulder and just places it into the corner. It was an absolute peach of a goal. But then he'll miss from 2 yards.
I mean, yeah, explain that, Stuart. It's mental. That is Dessers for you. I mean, I was sat in the watch along with Alex at the time, and when he missed that first chance, I just about lost it on the stream, because I was just mystified at how he could possibly have missed it, because it came perfectly across to him. The keeper was out of position. He only had a defender to beat, which isn't hard given they can't use their hands. Just whack it in the corner or put it through, and somehow he sort of fluffed his lines. But both goals he then ended up scoring, I thought were really, really top goals. I mean, obviously the one over the top for Ridvan was just incredible. A brilliant finish, but the header wasn't too bad either, getting it through the legs of the goalkeeper. He done pretty well for that. But what do you make of Dessers? Because clearly, if we're going to pick up results and form, we need a striker who's going to be scoring goals. And bizarre as it is now, it's Dessers who's starting to find goals, and it's Igaman who's starting to be struggling a little bit.
Yeah, I think with Dessers, he reminds me in his finishing techniques to a certain Kenny Miller. If he's got too much time, there's his answer. Though he either hits it straight to the keeper or he hits it wide, or whatever the case may be. But like the second goal on Wednesday night, if he's not got much time to think about it, he buries it.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit there, what Wilf was saying about Ridvan's ball. Again, when we watch it back, it's as the ball lands, it then sort of like curves straight into the path of Dessers' foot, and so he never had to do much with it, just make contact with it, and he done it correctly there with the outside of his foot instead of trying to probably put his laces through it. Yeah, great finish, absolutely. And the header from the corner, yeah, imagine that, it does work. So the header from the corner, again, he took well, but I was interested to see the tussle between Mayo and Hamas. I think, obviously VR had a look at it, but that could have went either way, I think, of how much of, the to and fro in between each other actually went. But Chris Colin mentioned, but Diomande will score tomorrow. What a pass he put through for Cerny's goal, because he picked up on what could have been a free kick when Hamas got tackled, And then he saw it. He pounced on the loose ball. Never even thought about it. Just looked up, split the lines, and then certainly buried it. And I think he did the same for the fourth goal. Again, he could have had a choice, left or right. He went right, and that goal was put in. But yeah, it's good to see 18 goals for Dessers and 15 from Cerny. So we're all good.
Connor, can I just clarify? There seems, sorry, looking at the comments, seems to be a misconception. I'm not having a dig at Cyril Dessers. I think he's fantastic. Right? I'm just pointing out for a discussion point what an enigma he is with the chance. I'm well aware Ali McCoy's missed loads of chances. I used to lose my shit with him all the time because this has all been what's in the comments. You know what I mean? And I'm not having a go at Dessers. He does. I mean, the goals, 42 goals in 18 months is tremendous. You know what I mean? Absolutely tremendous. And given some of the performances of players around about him, some of the goals he gets are absolutely out of this world. You know what I mean? Absolutely out of this world. You know what I mean? But I'm only trying to play devil's dick advocate here. You know what I mean? And just say that he is sometimes. Stewart nailed it. If he's Kenny Miller. If he's got time to think, forget it. He's not scoring. The only time he scores 1-on-1 with a keeper when he's got time to think is when he's offside. I don't know if you've noticed that. He tends to finish the ones that he's offside, and the ones he's not, he hits the keeper. But that's just a striker. I'm not having a go. I'm not having a go at the guy at all. So please, folks, don't think I am, right? Because let's be honest, if you put a highlight reel together to get rid of Cyril Dessers, right, it's going to look fantastic if and when they look to move him on. Because he scored some amount of goals, and he scores good goals, important goals. Look at the goal he got against Real Betis. He slalom by about half of their team, stuck it in the corner. He scores some absolutely wonderful goals. So I'm not having a go at the guy. I just thought it'd be worth discussing the fact that, as you said, Connor, you almost lost your shit when he missed from no distance at all. Then he scores the goals that he scored.
Yeah, he's incredible. And I think the thing is, and I'm trying to just see if I can find the point. Barry made the point. Simple fact is, Dessers won't get the praise or love he deserves until he leaves. I think that could be about right, Stuart. I think when you consider, as Wilf has touched on there, as the comments are saying as well, 42 goals in 18 months in a Rangers jersey is nothing to be sniffed at. And let's be clear here. We kept talking for years about wanting, consistent 20-goal a season strikers. Well, Cyril Dessers has done that back-to-back seasons. And he's done it this season, having spent a chunk of time out of the squad when he got dropped, when Iggerman started finding form. And, a man who we have lauded and, absolutely praised to the high heavens in these parts, Alfredo Morelos, he didn't do that. There was no back-to-back 20-goal season for Morelos. In fact, I think he only scored 20-plus goals in one season at the club, which, don't get me wrong, he was still prolific across the board. But surely, in that aspect, you have to say that it might be a case that when he leaves, we might look back with some, what's the word I'm looking for? With some regret, shall we say, at how he was potentially treated or perceived here.
I think it's he's Marmite, isn't he? I mean, either love him or you hate him, type thing. But I think you're right. It's when he leaves, depending on who replaces him, we then think, should have kept him. That guy was all right. Same as what folk are saying now about Goldson. Prop as a poor man's Goldson, but Goldson had to go for various things, wages included, type thing. But I heard Wilf mention about Al McCoy's missed chances. I think me and Wilf's old enough to remember what changed Al McCoy's life, if you want, at Ibrox, was his hat-trick against Celtic. And was it the Skull Cup or League Cup final? Wilf, was it called the Skull Cup way back then, I think?
I think it was the Skull Cup. What you have to remember that day as well, he scored the first of his hat-trick, which was a penalty from midfield. He played that game in number 8. It was before squad numbers, Connor. You'll be far too young to remember this.
Yeah.
Before squad numbers, so it was 1 to 11, and Ali McCoy was wearing number 8. He was actually playing in midfield that day, and he only got moved forward when they started making substitutions and changing the team about. He scored his first penalty from midfield that day. But up till then, Stuart's right. I mean, he used to. There was one game, I think it was against Dundee, that the whole of the Copeland were telling Alistair what they thought of him, telling them where they wanted him to go, and it was in very unsavoury terms, because he couldn't hit a proverbial bandeau with the proverbial stringed instrument. You know what I mean? It was one of them. And look where he went. I mean, you're right, but Cyril Dessers isn't alone in being the sort of player that we're not going to appreciate how good he is until he's gone. There's lots and lots of them like that. I don't think we'll appreciate. We won't appreciate James Tavernier, who, by the way, 500th game tomorrow. Assuming he gets picked. Assuming he gets picked. Because let's not count with chickens. Tremendous, but he's Marmite as well.
Yes, as I say, we'll come on to that very, very shortly. You know, I mean, Dougal makes the point here. Dessler's attitude's been exemplary since he's always available, never hides. Love him or hate him, he has some mentality. I've got to agree with that. And I love the fact as well that despite the criticism he knows he gets, he scores that goal against Kilmarnock on Wednesday and he's straight into the crowd. And he's embracing them and he's been there. And some of those people who have been around him and celebrating and nice ones, Cyril, will be people who have criticised the life out of him. But he doesn't care. He wants to score goals. And we talk about weak mentalities. You want players that have got a strong mentality and the will to do that. Smudge, thank you very much. £20 super chat from Smudge. Absolute legend of the channel. He says, we've had the tin hats on all season with this team. For me, the Rabble has helped us all through it all. It's a great wee community, the Top Podcast. Well, that is very much appreciated, and I'm glad that we could be some small crumb of comfort to you when obviously everything has been pretty poor on the park. So I'm absolutely delighted. Wilf, since you touched on it, the captain, Tav, 500 appearances for the club tomorrow. Okay, he might not have a massive trophy laden haul behind him, but he does have a League Winners medal to his name. He's got 2 Cup Winners medals to his name, and he's got a Europa League Golden Boot to his name from right back, which I still don't think he gets enough credit for, by the way.
No, that's a mental stat. That's a ridiculous stat for a right back to score. Even to score the amount of goals he has for us, but to win a Europa Golden Boot for goals in a season from right back is tremendous. And yes, some of them are penalties. You've still got to score them. You know what I mean? And a lot of them weren't penalties. So yeah, I mean, 500 appearances in with 10 seasons. You're talking just over 50 games a season. That's incredible consistency for any football player at any club in any position. I mean, I think I heard a thing the other day that he's only missed in those 10 years. Has he missed something like 18 league games or something, and only one of them has been through suspension. For the guy to be a defender and to only be suspended once in 10 years, that's outrageous, especially in modern football. I mean, the man's just, again, as we say, same as with Dessler, we won't appreciate how good he was till he's not here. Yes, he should and could and should have won a lot more trophies. And I mean, I'm on record as saying 3 or 4 years ago I wouldn't have been sad if he'd left. I wouldn't have been sad if he left about the time Gerrard left, because to me, he probably outlived his usefulness. But he's come again. He's never let the club. He's never hidden. He's never ever hidden. He's always come out once or twice after bad defeat. You expect to hear from him because he's a captain, and you don't. But that's just the way it goes. That thumbs up means there's another call coming in. I haven't looked at it in the chat.
Dave is waiting. Dave, how are you? What's your point for the guys tonight?
Hello, Connor. Hello, panel. This is probably more to Wilf because he's ages with me. I'm 57 this year, so I think Wilf would be sort of in the same school. It's about the centre halves, right? We've not got any decent centre halves, really, right? George Souttar's are probably about the most physical one out the lot of them, eh? The rest of them are made of Cadbury's flakes, the crumble when a striker gets near them. But I remember the days of Richard Gough, Terry Butcher, Graham Roberts, so on. I could name loads. It just went in and bullied the strikers, won the ball, gave it to a Barry Ferguson or a whoever in the midfield, and they played the ball for you know what I mean? All this rubbish about ball playing centre backs and all that. It's a load of nonsense to me. You want someone that's just going to go and smash the striker, and I'm not talking about breaking his legs or breaking his jaw, but you know, like Terry Butcher and Richard Gough did. Do you know what I mean?
Davey, I'm with you 100%.
What do you think, guys? I think next season we need 2 dominant centre halves, 6'3", 6'4", a Butcher and a Gough type.
Davey, I'm with you 100%. I don't know how you knew my age, but I'm actually 57 this year as well. So there you go. We're absolutely bang on the money there.
Bang on the banana.
Well, that's yours. I'm not going to steal that one from you. it's one of those that you can't. Football's changed too much. You know, I mean, the way people play. I mean, it's all ball playing centre halves now. Even the big commanding centre halves, with the exception of the boy Gogic at St Mirren, he's probably the only one that isn't. Most of them have to be ball playing centre halves now with the way teams play. Davey, I'm with you. I'd love to have a Goff and a Butcher or a Roberts or a, you know, somebody like that. A big Derek Johnston when he moved to the back in the day. Somebody like that, commanding centre half. You're right. We only have John Suter that is a command. We need even John Suter's a good ball playing centre half. You know what I mean? Lorenzo Amoruso, you know, during his time at Rangers, absolutely commanding in the air, could pass the ball onto a sixpence. We need guys like that. Wasn't Henry's biggest fan, but he would head the moon. He would head the moon. That's what we need. We need somebody like that. Whether we need two of them like that, I don't know, but we certainly need somebody that can just get the ball out of there, because it's no coincidence to me that we lose really poor goals in the air without a commanding presence at the back. And at the moment, as you say, Dave, all we've got there that fits that bill is John Suter.
Dave,
even John Suter gets bullied sometimes as well, Wilf.
No, he does make some of these big centre half. What I'm saying is he's the only one we've got that can actually head a ball. And Suter's got no consistency because he's always injured. We could do, unfortunately, the days of, you know, Goffs and Butchers and Graham. I mean, I think Graham Robertson in playing football, the way football's currently played, I think he'd be suspended more often than he would play, to be perfectly honest.
There's one in the English Premier League who doesn't do very well, actually, Harry Maguire. But he's a guy, he's not very good on the ground, but he's the guy that'll go and win it in the air. You know what I mean? Obviously, we couldn't afford that type of player. But is there no centre-half suit there that can do both?
Well, Dave, I mean, I'll throw a question back at you then with that, because one of our commenters, and it's flown by me now, but is suggesting that we look at Frankie Kent at Hearts and Ryan Porteous down south. Now, Porteous has been linked with us numerous times. A lot of people don't fancy him. There are some people that think, yeah, why not? I mean, what's your kind of thoughts on that type of player?
About Ryan Porteous, he's not good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, for his worth, Dave, I agree with you, mate. I do agree with you. I think you need to be better than that.
Good enough. Aye. We need to look at better players at what we're actually been talking about in the past, because what we've been talking about in the past, Ryan Porteous, players like that, they're nowhere good enough for Rangers.
Yeah, I totally agree. Dave, pleasure as always, my friend. Thanks very much for the call. Do give us a call back anytime.
Just one last thing, guys, before I go. Can I just say one last thing before I go?
Yeah, absolutely.
Barry Ferguson, McCann, I'm not going to be one game, but I hope they get the job, because I want Rangers men in charge.
Listen, it's a fair point. Some people will definitely agree with you there. Thanks very much, Dave. Kenny, let's bring you into the conversation here. In terms of centre backs and such like, I thought on Wednesday that Tav actually done really well when he went into centre back. I thought when Barry made that wee change and he brought Yilmaz on and just shifted Tav into the centre alongside Proper, I thought it looked a bit calmer in there. And it's not the first time we've seen Tav play that role. And he's once or twice under come on to get shifted centre back. Is that a solution you could see, at least in the short term, continuing with Tav the centre back? Because while Dave's point's a fair one about bring in the hammer thrower of old kind of thing, in a modern world with technology and VAR, you always run the risk of players getting off. Whereas Tav, I think, is able to do a job for you in there, at least for now.
I'll answer that because Kenny's not here, right?
Hey, Stuart, sorry, Stuart. I don't know why I said Kenny.
I had an idea that's where you're going with. I've got. I'll say this first of all. I'm no Tav's greatest fan. I'll leave it at that. However, moving him into centre back, he has never let us down. I don't know whether it's because that's where he is. There's no need for him, to go beyond the halfway line and get, caught out of position to come back again. I think he's happy standing in that position, and he can see the whole pitch. That's how I sometimes like either one of my centre backs or centre midfielders to be my captain, because they're in a position in the pitch to see the whole pitch. But yeah, you're absolutely right. If the problem with that one, I think, Connor, is depending if Ridvan can stay fit. If Ridvan can stay fit now to the end of the season, there's no reason why you can't go at right back. And again, depends on how quickly both Balogun or Suter can come back from their injuries also. But until they come back, I'd be quite happy to have the captain at centre back, including tomorrow.
Connor, while we're on centre back, sorry to jump across you again. Rangers have just announced that Leon King's gone to Queen's Park for the rest of the season. So I don't know whether they heard me mentioning Leon King and thought they better stick it out. He's gone to Queen's Park for the rest of the season. So that's another centre back option being taken away from us.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Was it Queen's Park or Queen's Park Rangers? Because I thought it was Queen's Park Rangers.
Queen's Park, I think.
Queen's Park, aye. Do you know, as I'd seen that earlier, and I think I'd seen
Queen's Park.
Queen's Park. Aye. That makes sense. Fair enough. I mean, I'm sure he'll go and do a job there. But I suppose, well, on that point about them going to Queen's Park, we've had a couple of the young lads, the defenders, ironically enough, in the past, and a few others go to the clubs in the Championship and not really get or do much while they've been there. We had, and even Adam Devine had his spell at Motherwell and only done well when he did appear. He didn't get many appearances. You had Dapo Mabudi when he was at the club down at Queen of the South. I mean, does it really work giving them that kind of exposure? I mean, for Leon King, he actually has experienced high levels of football with Rangers. Yeah,
but he needs to be playing games. I mean, we've said long and weary that Champions League campaign of 3 years ago almost ended his career, because he probably played over the course of that season. I think he probably played as many minutes as they planned for him to play, but he played them in 6 weeks, against some high-class opposition. As I said earlier, with a midfield player beside him at centre half, because James Sands was all we had, and they did the best they could given the situation they were in. But it almost ruined Leon King's Rangers career. He needs to be playing football. They have to play him. When we put players out on loan, obviously we can't dictate to teams, who plays and who doesn't play. But we'll have to be putting them to places where we've had one or two players going out on loan to Queen's Park, so it must be somewhere we like to go. I mean, Brian's here mentioning Lewis Mayo. I can't believe that we didn't sign him after his loan spell at Kilmarnock. He did really well on loan at Kilmarnock, and then we just let him go there. You know what I mean? For me, I think Lewis Mayo could be a star in this current Rangers team had we kept him. You know what I mean? But again, it's down to how much game time he would have got. Well, thought Leon King, when he came in, could have been a star. But that 6 weeks in the round of that Champions League campaign just almost ruined his career. So, I mean, putting him out on loan, I don't see the benefit of putting somebody like Leon King to Queen's Park, who are kind of mid-table Championship. They're not going to get relegated. They're not going to challenge the scorers at the top of the league, I don't think so. I'd like to see him go somewhere, maybe if he's going Championship, maybe Ayr United or Wraith Rovers or somebody, at the kind of the higher end. I think Wraith Rovers are at the higher end, but somebody at the higher end. But again, you can only put them with teams that need the player, that are willing to take the player. And I mean, Queen's Park, for him personally, it's a decent move because they're in Glasgow. He won't need to relocate for 3 or 4 months, because he obviously lives in and around Glasgow because he's coming to us all the time training. So I don't think it's the worst move from that point of view. It's not like they put him to. It's like when they put a couple of young kids to Inverness. You know what I mean? They had to move lock, stock, and barrel on their own up to Inverness, stuff like that. That to me, they're daft moves. But we've got a loan manager. I think we've still got a loan manager, and so he's obviously brokered this move. I'm not sure how the loan system works now, because I always thought it had to be done within a week of the transfer window closing, but obviously not, because we're now at the end of February and it's happened. So it would also indicate to me that they've got confidence that John Suter's going to come back and be fit, because why else would you let a potential cover go, particularly with Europe round the corner? Liam King can play, can fill a hole in Europe, like on the bench at Fenerbahce or whatever. So they must be thinking that they're going to have Suter, Balogun. They've obviously got Proper as well, there. So they must be fairly confident that. I mean, the manager said in his press conference today, everybody knows we're a bit short at the back, and then we let our centre half go out on loan. So it must be fair to me. I read that as they're fairly confident that the injuries are clearing up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean that is of course a positive, Stuart. Get your name right that time. That you want players coming back, and we need them. Listen, we've said long and Adam that Leon Balogun is the best pure defender we've got at the club. He just is. I mean, some of the qualities and attributes that Dave was talking about wanting a defender, you see in Balogun. I mean, there's a guy who, when he picked up that injury at St Mirren, he kept going to block the St Mirren player and clear the danger before going down. And you knew straight away he had pulled something, but he risked injuring himself further to stop St Mirren gaining an advantage, which is I just think is an incredible piece of play for him, and it just shows the attitude he's got. I mean, with everybody back and fit, who would your two centre back choices be? For me, it'd be Balogun and Suter, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I probably agree with if everyone is fit. Probably Balogun, Suter. If not, Suter, Sterling. If he ever comes back, because we forgot he was with us, didn't we? I think. But yeah, I would go with the first two, Suter and Balogun, and I'm quite surprised. And you say to yourself, Balogun can come in as backup. So theoretically, he's fit. He's fourth or fifth choice, but yet all of a sudden, we're all saying he should be one of the first two to play. Just shows you how poorly, really, we've been at the back. If we're saying the guy who's come in as a backup will be the one we're looking to start with Suter. But Suter and Balogun, or Suter and Sterling. That's my two.
Yeah, it's a fair point. And we'll bring up a point as well from Timothy Sharp. He says, any surprise they're all back fit in training with Europe coming up? Wilf, any surprise there for you?
Never thought of it that way, but what did cross my mind was we might have one or two of the long-term injured players back now that there's been a management change. I mean that crossed my mind when the rumour was that Philippe Clement was getting the old tin tack. I thought, I wonder if we'll suddenly see, Dejan Sterling back training. I wonder if Cortez will come back. I'm not saying they were at it, but are they maybe saying to the manager, look, I'm 90%, I'll be okay, I can do a job for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay, we have another call. I tell you what, it's been a busy old phone line tonight. I'm loving this. We've got Jack on the line. Jack, how you doing? What's your point for the lads?
How are we doing, troops? Just wanted to talk about Cherry, basically, because he's it's a constant battle in my head of what to think of him. And I see this new owner changing all that. Do you think we could maybe sign him? Or would you just kind of stay clear of that due to the age and that?
Stuart, back off Cherny, would you reckon to potentially looking to sign? I mean, has he shown enough that you would want to go out and sign him? Because bear in mind, he's not going to be cheap. You're going to be a couple of £2 million at least to sign him. Do you think he's shown enough for us to go and pursue that option?
Money's going to be a big thing, isn't it? I mean, if we're talking at the moment, 6 or 7 million. Well, there you go, 6.7 million, almost 7 million. He has scored, 15 goals this season, which is, for somebody on loan, is an absolutely fantastic sort of like effort and giving us something to be happy about. But I don't know. I'm like Jack. I don't know whether I would want to fork that money out for him, or try and go and get something else. It's one of the things. Better the devil you know. Yes, he does. He's a typical winger, I think, isn't he? Because he won't give you 90 minutes, because even David Cooper never gave you 90 minutes. But I'm thinking, if we get, because he's always going to score. That's the thing, isn't it? He's always going to create something, and I think that is something that the new men might say, it's worth a gamble. But do you gamble at 6.75 million? I don't know. I'm sitting with Jack at the moment. Sorry, I've not really gave you an answer whether I would or I wouldn't. But I'm like Jack. I'm sitting here going, I know. Make your mind up. I don't know. There you go. I don't know. I'm sitting on the fence for this one.
Well, Jack, it sounds like Stewart is obviously in the same line of thinking of you, torn between a rock and a hard place when it comes to his thoughts on Tierney. I should also say as well, by the way, that Jack is a channel member, so thanks very much, Jack. That is greatly appreciated for your support. But, I mean, what do you think, Jack? Do you actually think, given the price and even with the talk of a takeover, 6.7 million, it's a lot to fork out? I mean, have you seen enough to say, yep, he's worth splashing the cash on?
That's the issue, but in it, because one game you're looking at him going right, scoring goals and that, and the next game he kind of goes missing. But then I don't know if that's kind of what wingers do in a way. But then see, you're wanting numbers from your wide players, aren't you, as well as your number 9, and then inside the midfield, he's giving you that. Do you kind of go and spend the 6 million on him or whatever it is, knowing you're not going to be able to sell him for any more than that, really, because of his age? Because you can't just build a team of young players and hope it works. And I mean, you still need to have some good proven players already in that, but then it all goes down to budget as well, I suppose.
Well, Jack, here's one for you talking about budgets, and I don't know if it's at all doable, right? But we're on the hook for £4.5 million for Oscar Cortez because we've got an obligation to buy him. If we can somehow wriggle out of that, right? Would you then pay £6.5 million for Tierney if you could use the 4.5 set aside for Cortez?
100%, I would. Just because of the numbers he's getting you, because Cortez, I don't know if you can get out it, but I think that's a bit of a. You could be waiting a year for him to get fit and then get back up to it. You know what I mean? It's just not. You don't. It just seems to me that's not going to work. You know what I mean? But if you could get out of it and spend the money on a Tierney, I would do that because he's scoring goals, isn't he?
100%. I mean, you say, well, what's it, 15 goals this season? And as you said yourself, Jack, we need figures from wide men, from midfield players, from all over the place, not just the strikers. I mean, I think the last free scoring midfield player we had was probably the current manager. You know what I mean? So we do need somebody like with numbers like Tierney. So I'm exactly the same as yourself and Stewart. I'd love to sign him. Not sure if we can afford it. And then other times you see him and you think he's just falling over that ball again. You know what I mean? It's a weird one. It is a weird one.
Yeah, absolutely. Wilf, it looks like you're next in the shopping cart for Donald. He's examining your background for things he can trade off of you. He wants to see what he can negotiate out of your possession. I mean, listen, Donald is mental. I mean, but the guy is.
I have to say, everything behind me would be up for grabs apart from the big canvas because that was a gift.
Well, there you go. That's your answer, Donald. So get Wilf messaged. Jack, thanks very much for your call. Do give us a call back anytime. As always, mate, we're here every Friday, so great points there. There is still time for one or two, in fact, at least 2 more calls if you get yourself dialing that number right now. You can come on and make some points to the guys as well. Wilf, I get the points made about Tierney, and we've obviously spoke, Dessers and all the rest of it. I did want to have a brief conversation about Hamza Egeman, in proper. I know Stewart mentioned him earlier in passing, but I mean, what he said himself, he came out last week and said that he knows he's not firing in all cylinders right now, but he is trying, and I didn't mind that. I like him acknowledging what we can see. What do you put that down to? Because he seemed to be in red hot form for a while, and in just the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's dropped off the boil. I mean, he was sloppy on Wednesday. He was giving the ball away, particularly in that second half. I'd say round about the hour mark, he kept giving it away. Albeit he did some good things in amongst that as well.
He's a young player. The good thing for me is he acknowledges the fact that he's having a bit of a tough time. He acknowledges himself that he's been sloppy. He's not doing what he should do. You've got to remember the professional football he has played is what he's played for us this season. Nothing else. He's a young player. It's not like we've got him and he's played 50 games for somebody else. He hasn't played any professional games till he came to us. So he's going to be a bit inconsistent. I mean, he's probably given us more than we probably thought he would up till now. So when he's come off the boil a bit, you think, not quite sure about him now. But I think we just need to persevere. He'll come good again.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point, Stuart. To be fair, and Aaron Laird making the point there as well. He thinks that he's maybe trying too hard after the transfer speculation. You think that's a fair point? Is that maybe weighed on him a little bit?
Not too sure whether it's to do with any transfer speculation, but I think he is trying a little bit too hard from previously. Before that, everything sort of like came naturally to him. I mean, that sort of like scissor kick effort he done on Wednesday night, I think only he could have done that. You know what I mean? So he's got the confidence, and I think slowly but surely we'll start coming back in. And I don't know whether it's where he's playing. I'm trying to think back in my head of where we were getting the best out of him. Was it as a number 9? Was it as a number 10? Was it out left? But yeah, potentially, as Alan says, maybe he needs a rest. But if we rest him, who plays instead of?
Yeah, that's a fair point.
We're not exactly up there with 3 or 4 strikers, have we? Because
no,
Danilo
Danilo's only just come back into it, so
yeah.
Okay, we do have another caller on the line. We have Neil waiting. Neil, how are we? What's your point tonight for the guys?
Good morning, Connor. Good afternoon, Connor. Evening, Wilf. Evening, Stuart. Just to ask for Saturday afternoon, do you think Barry will change the formation for the game against Motherwell? Do you think he's learned a wee bit after the Kelly game? Do you think you'll go 4-4-2? Do you think you'll go 4-2-3-1? What's your thoughts?
Stuart, I'll come back to you. What do we think? Do you think he'll stick with the 4-4-2 he went with? I think he probably will, personally. I think he'll just make some personnel changes.
Yeah, potentially. Again, it's all before the Kilmarnock game. What did they have? One session together. So you probably then had yesterday and today before tomorrow's game. So it's all about what he can squeeze in and get over. When he said in his presser, didn't he, after the game, that maybe they overloaded the play with the players with information, and that's what he sort of like thought went astray the first 20-25 minutes, the Kelly game. I think he'll keep it what the players know. There's nothing wrong with the formation that we've been playing, 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-2-1, 4-2-3-1. It's how they react and their bite, what they've got, the enthusiasm they've got, and that's what Barry will probably in this team is probably driving into them. Doesn't matter if you play any formation, you're all professional football players. If it's not working at that time, change it yourselves. And just get the passion back. I think that's what Barry's will be hammering into them. I don't care what formation you play out there. Just play like you own the Rangers strip, and you're proud to wear it. Get on with it.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, what formation do you think he'll go with? What formation would you prefer him to go with?
It's hard because it was interesting on Wednesday night that he stuck to the same personnel from the St Mirren game, and then he didn't really change the formation that much. The only difference was after 30 minutes, all the players played more direct. That Tierney hung back a wee bit. The midfield were more clearer in their roles, and they were able to create the opportunities. It wasn't a big major change. It wasn't a major transformation. It was just simple. And I'm thinking, if they've had a bit more time in training, then maybe actually just simple tweaks might make the big difference in terms of the game ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. We shall see. Hopefully, it does. Neil, great call, mate. Absolutely brilliant points there. Thanks very much, and give us a call back. Well, we're in the home stretch, folks. I reckon if you pick the phone up now, we could squeeze you in right at the end here. But you've probably got about a minute, maybe two at the most, to get yourself on that phone. I mean, Wilf, what do you make to some of what Neil was saying in terms of the formation? I mean, Barry obviously changed it to 4-4-2 on Wednesday night, but there was a lot of people not happy with the tactics that Come On was using. So you feel that that makes sense that Barry came in and made that change in the formation?
I'll be honest, Colin. I've said it many times. I'm not really a tactical guy. I mean, I've got people pointing out to me when they change tactics during games and stuff like that. But for me, 4-4-2 is a Rangers formation. I mean, really. But obviously these days there's different ways of playing 4-4-2. I mean, you can play 4-4-2 and the 4 in the middle is a diamond, and you've got the 2 is actually a number 10 and a striker. There's all sorts of different ways you can do it. As long as at least a winning football, attacking football, scoring more goals in the team you're playing, we don't care what the formation is. I know that doesn't answer the question, but that's the way I see it.
No, absolutely. A couple of super chats to attend to. Waterboot 72, 199 super chat. Thanks very much, Waterboot. My son can't wait to get back over for Hibs now. Good. I'm glad that's one thing that I think Barry has brought back. People are at least feeling a bit more optimistic about the place.
Connor, before you move on from that, right, can I make a thing as well? It's actually amazing what difference a manager can make. Sorry, Martin, I'm going to throw this one out just very quickly, right? Because see, before the management changed, right, Kilmarnock tickets for Wednesday night were 10 a penny. There was loads and loads of them, right? There must have been 50 folk outside Rugby Park on Wednesday night looking for tickets. That's the difference it's made just changing the manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, we have another call. I dare say probably the final call of the night. We have Colin all the way from Northern Ireland, I believe. Colin, how are we doing? What's your point for the guys tonight?
Right, what's happening, lads? My wee question was, do you think Ross McCausland is good enough to be a Rangers starter, or is he good enough to be in the squad? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, Ross McCausland, good enough to be a starter or in the squad? What's your take?
Currently, for me, no, and possibly. So no, I wouldn't. No, I don't think he's good enough to be a starter, and he could possibly be. I don't like to say it because I quite like Ross. I like what he does. I don't think he's consistently good enough to be a starter for us. He has done a few things coming off the bench. I would probably keep him in the squad, but I'm not so completely sold on that.
Yeah, I mean, Colin, interested for your point of view. Obviously, you're from Northern Ireland, so you'll have seen him in a national jersey as well. I mean, what do you think his dip has came down to? Because when he first came into the squad, he was getting high praise. We were all saying how well he was playing, how well he adapted so quickly, getting thrown in. He's played a part in a number of European games, scored a couple of goals as well. Where do you think it's all kind of gone a bit wrong for him?
Mate, to be fair, when he was over here, he was with Linfield and he was under David Healy. And I think when he went to Scotland with Rangers, he adapted to Scottish football. No, Irish League football, like Northern Ireland football, is way different than what Scottish League football would be. You know what I mean? It's the physicality of it. And I think injuries just got the problem. Like I think he went too quick, and I thought, I don't know, it's hard to put because I think it was injuries as well. Like it slowed him down from where he's going to get to.
Yeah, it's a fair point, Stuart. He's had those injuries. And Colin, thanks very much for the call. Great call, by the way. Fantastic points here, all the way from Northern Ireland, and they've reached this podcast has, honestly. But give us a call back anytime. But it is a fair point, and it's Stuart, about Ross McCausland. Has it been a case that the injury issues, or has that just knocked the stuffing out of him a little bit? Because he as I say, he did start so brightly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll answer this question all the way from Northern Ireland, Connor. But
I know, I'm just saying. I know that, Stuart. Give me some credit here. Come on.
Calls me Kenny, doesn't know where I stay. Anyway,
I knew you stay. I'm talking about the reach of the fans of the podcast. Where the people in the podcast stay doesn't matter.
Aye, true. I'm going to say that currently at the moment too inconsistent. You probably needs to put about a stone and a half on to be able to brush off the challenges that are coming his way. He's learnt a lot by tracking back when he loses the ball. So it probably, as time goes on at the moment, just very quickly, is he a first team starter? No. Will he be? Probably.
Fair point. Okay, well, we'll look to wrap up there, but before we do, let's take care of some pieces of housekeeping. The phone lines are now closed, as you can see. Jack Roberts with the $9.99 super chat. I believe that's the same Jack who was on the phone, so absolutely thank you very much, Jack, for that. He says, forgot to say about Barry, it just looks like he should be the Rangers manager. I mean, yeah, I totally get that, but I suppose, well, looking like you should be and actually being capable of being permanently are very much different things.
It is, but so far so good. I mean, he had a challenge in the first half an hour. I mean, he said himself he could have taken any of them off when he made the substitution after 30 minutes on Wednesday. He had the cojones to make that substitution, and whatever he said at half time worked. The tweaks that he made worked, and we went on. And let's be honest, when's the last time we scored 4 goals at Rugby Park? You know what I mean? So that in itself is, it's Kilmarnock. They're always stuffy. It's that bloody pitch. It's all that sort of thing. You know what I mean? Tomorrow will be a tester. I mean, they were going on in the press conference today. You know, Motherwell got a new manager. Do you think it'll be more difficult than usual? Blah blah blah. What they're forgetting is Motherwell's got to assess what we're going to do, but we've got a new manager as well. I mean, I don't care what Motherwell will do. Right? It's all about what Rangers do. But the way they were questioning it as if, well, is it going to be more difficult for you because you don't know what they're going to bring you because of the new manager? Well, will Motherwell not be thinking exactly the same? It's tough enough to come to Ibrox, but what's the new manager going to do? I mean, the place is going to be rocking tomorrow, right? It's Armed Forces Day, which is always a good atmosphere anyway, right? It's Barry Ferguson's first game in the dugout as Rangers interim manager at Ibrox. You know what I mean? The place is going to be jumping. If we start the same way we did against Kilmarnock, okay, that will turn very quickly. But if we start against Motherwell like Kilmarnock started against us, it could end up, you know, a very, 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 very positive score for us. So, yeah, I think he does look the part, but as you say, any of us could look the part as a Rangers manager. And he was always going to look the part because he already had the club suit as an ambassador anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. And the boss man is reminding me to let people know to like and subscribe. Very much helps the channel. You can also follow us on all the usual social media platforms, the Twitters, X's, whatever you want to call it, the X-Twitters, Facebook, all that good groovy stuff. TikTok, I think we're on TikTok as well. So yeah, make sure you follow us on there. And of course you can, if you're not already, sign up and become a channel member. There are varying degrees of tiers and loads of fantastic content that you get that's members exclusive. One of which, by the way, if you sign up in the next half an hour, you'll get a movie review show, which I believe is on at 9 p.m. tonight. So make sure, if you're not a member, get signed up and get watching it. If you are a member, get yourself a cup of tea and get yourself back in front of a screen. And lastly, I'll just end on a personal note for myself. I wasn't going to bring this up, but Ian Thompson's sort of thrown me under the bus and brought it up. Indeed, yes, this will be the last podcast I will do in my 20s because on Sunday I do turn 30. I'm not on between now and then. I'll be on at some point in the week. There's been loads of well wishes and happy birthdays in the chat, so thanks very much for that.
Happy birthday for Sunday, but that must have been some fucking paper round you had.
I was going to say.
Hey, listen, what can I say? It's been a hard knock life. Listen, I'm a Rangers fan after all. It's never easy. But nevertheless, I'm still one of the youngest on here, though, even if Lewis makes me feel as old as Wilf sometimes when he says, I mean, Lewis in the pod the other day, they're saying that he barely remembered Barry Ferguson's playing days. I mean, that was just ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Nevertheless, Martin's reminded me apparently it's 8:45 for the movie show, so that means I better move my backside. But Wilf, Stewart, thanks very much. I've thoroughly enjoyed that tonight. Thanks to everybody who's joined us in the comments. And yeah, we will see you back here in about 10 minutes for a movie review.